Texas Tech is going to win the national championship. Unless BYU does, or Houston, or Arizona, or West Virginia. This is the Locked On Big 12 Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big 12 Squad, sponsored by Game Time. From Oklahoma State to Utah, from Kansas State to BYU, from Houston to Texas Tech, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big 12 weekend. Buckle up. It's the Big 12 Squad, and we have a seat for you. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up. You're part of the Big 12 Squad.
And happy Thursday night, everybody. Welcome into the Big 12 Squad. Duke Stadium replaced Baylor in the squad open this week because it's only appropriate after whatever that was. We got Chris Level talking all things Texas Tech. Cody Stovall talks Oklahoma State, whatever they're good at. Christian, wrestling. They're good
I was about to say, bro, don't you disrespect Wyatt that way.
Yep. Christian Rao of Locked On K-State. JT Westerstill talks Utes. Nick Maravets talks sometimes. Parker Ainsworth with the Cougs. Cam Stewart of Locked On Baylor. Richie Bradshaw with Arizona State. And Mountaineer Paul, Locked On Love and Life and everything you could ever want out of a book. Abracadabra. Can we the Abracadabra song? The Geico Pig commercial, the one commercial with the phone ringing. By the way, the Wii commercial, the one with the phone ringing.
Did anybody else not remember the pig commercial? Because I have someone in my house who was like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "It's 15 years old. I don't know what to tell you."
It's a legendary.
Maravets wasn't even born when that first came out. I don't think.
I think it was right as I was born.
Day of, huh? Then
See you
remember
to the pig commercial.
The one where they plugged in the iPhone, and the iPhone was the outlet was singing. Remember that? With that like college
that was last year.
Was that last year?
Yeah.
Right. This year's are somehow even more insufferable. What's the just Shack thing they're doing too? The Shack, the Shower Shack or Shack Shed or whatever. Yeah. Only 4 of you. I say only. It's the most in Big 12 history. Tied for the most. Get to relive those commercials every single week. BYU, Texas Tech, Arizona, and Houston are moving on. Chris,
no, we're Big 12 fans. We all get to live it. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're gonna root for them.
I had someone in my post-game Sunday that was like, at least there's 4 Big 12 teams, and like, or at least you have Big 12 teams to root for. I'm like, yes, that will numb the pain of a 23-point loss to Duke and our 4th straight exit in the first weekend. That's what I'm going to be at. At least I can pull for BYU now.
You have the mojo.
Don't have any pain if you're not in the tournament. Think about that, Cam. You don't have any.
Well, BYU and tater tots. How many times have you heard the tater tot story in the last 10 days?
Cody's team's still in the tournament.
That's right, baby.
You guys are in the tournament?
And North Texas has a staff luncheon, so they have to come to Stillwater. That is
Richie's real
ridiculous.
Hey, that didn't go well the last time that happened.
It is. Isn't it really interesting, though, how it does feel like conference realignment has changed the way a lot of the other teams view other teams in their conference? Like when it's become Big 12 and ACC against the big dogs, it feels like
those are the ones where the Utah fans root for the ACC. I think is what you're hinting at here.
Good job, JT.
Drake. I'm glad you still watched last week, even though you were.
And Richie roots for Arizona, right?
Guys,
somebody
it was really nice.
Somebody here has to. Someone in the Big 12 squad.
JT, that's ESPN's fault, though. JT, I mean, what you said, it's because we get the 3-letter SEC thrown. I mean, shoved down and mentioned, and how many teams and percentages, and it makes everybody just want to throw up. And so you do kind of, I think, have a little more conference pride than maybe you used to.
The SEC is great at giving us the St. Bill Snyder treatment on a continuous basis. That is very true. Good call, Chris. Atta babe.
Do we need to designate someone on this show each week to defend Arizona?
I'll do it.
Richie Bradshaw.
He's ready.
Atta baby, Paul.
Although I would love Paul to do it, I kind of want to hear what Richie's got to say.
You can't do it.
Team player.
I would just love Paul to do it.
Rip Caleb Love.
It's going to stink.
Honestly, same.
I'll hype that up.
Was he the one that did the girlfriend thing, or did the other guy do the girlfriend thing? Who was in the wrong there?
Teo from Notre Dame. No,
the That one BYU kid from 2011. You guys remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Davies, baby.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, where is Hatch? Wait a second.
No, we don't need Hatch. We're good. We don't need
I think
any
he's
more.
having another kid in celebration of the Wisconsin game.
There we go.
Babe.
No, he's standing guard over the men's thing, making sure the Davies things doesn't happen. Can't have another
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you, the refs almost impregnated BYU in that game.
Hey-o.
Here all week.
Speaking of, you got the Mojo hat on. Whatever happened to that guy? Huh? Real
I
stand-up
thought you were
character.
going to say, speaking of being impregnated. I was excited. We're going to go with that.
Yeah.
That made more sense than whatever happened to the Mojo guy.
Booby
Gary-
Miles,
Gary
man. He
Gates?
was,
I believe
no.
Booby Miles is out of prison.
Oh,
So things are on the up, you're saying.
Win.
I
Pour
think
one out.
so. I can't confirm that though.
So
I have
he's
his
out of the
number. I
portal.
could call him.
you did?
Portal
Did you
window just
interview him,
opened?
or you
Yeah, I
almost
did.
interviewed him?
No, even worse. I did a whole puff piece about him until someone called the
Oh.
station and said, "Why are you hyping up this SAer?"
Yeah, he's on like 6 lists. He,
Yeah,
Does not play for the
no Google.
Spurs.
To my defense, no Google stories, but definitely on the registry. Check that first, local sports reporters.
2023, according to Wikipedia, Miles is sentenced to 13 years in prison.
This was after. This was 2 years after I did a story on him. Year and a half after I did a story on him.
I don't think he's going to answer your texts. I think.
Is this 3 or 5 weeks running?
Probably got a new number.
Now,
Cam, what did you say to that guy for him to fall off the rails a year later? What did you do?
Dude, all I'll say is I don't want to piss that dude off. He is massive. Like if you're pissing him off, you're in a bad way.
Not going to say it.
Well, we'll send that.
We'll
send-
meeting puff stories.
NBA YoungBoy got out of prison today.
Thank you.
Okay.
Back to focus somehow.
Fall off the top rope there.
Very
always.
good, Paul.
NBA young boy, March Madness. I like it.
Who had
My
Booby
personal-
Miles in the first segment?
My personal favorite thing. You wore the hat, man.
I was
my
asking for it.
favorite thing to come out of March Madness so far are Andy Patton's hands. Just follow along.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search bracket breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
The sour lemon at the end too.
My hand.
He says for free twice and instantly regrets it.
Instantly
sour
regrets,
lemon.
and you can see it on his face as the camera's zooming away. He's like, "Oh, I did it."
No, they hold it.
Is
They
this
hold
the
it
one?
for so
Wait,
long.
is this the one we actually run? I'm usually
Yeah,
getting ready for the
and-
read when that happens. I didn't
And the-
notice he does
the
that.
producer's like, cut, great, love it.
That's as good as we're gonna get.
One take.
Got that
That's all
Ricky
we
Bobby
can do.
don't do my
At one
hands
point,
thing.
he puts like the crab claws on its belt. He like lowers toward the belt and then brings it up.
It's like he's trying to grab a belt buckle, right? Like but there's no
He was-
buckle to grab. Yeah,
He was told, "Do not put your hands in your pockets."
No,
He's
so
like
he steeple method for a bit, and then
Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands.
we do need to be nice to Patton though, because we're going to add Gonzaga and pull him into this thing, right? That's part of it.
That's
Pat-
true.
Can we talk about how?
Man.
Can we talk about how awesome it is that Gordon Hayward and Mountaineer Paul are coworkers?
wow, Tegna signs each of their paychecks right now.
Colleagues.
Colleagues.
Drinking buddies. They go way back. I do.
But
Andy's
does
been-
Gordon Hayward have a Mountain Dew deal? That's the real trick.
There's a fishing story coming, I'd imagine, someday. Better.
Coming up, basketball. Texas Tech is moving on. So is Arizona, BYU, and Houston. We got 2 of the guys, Parker Ainsworth and Chris Level, here on the Locked On Big 12 Squad. Today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. I'm 24, right? So the whole money thing doesn't make a lot of sense to me. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. It's not just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized how much I was spending on takeout. So I don't do that anymore. I just buy groceries thanks to Monarch Money. You can track your spending and have personal accounts you can share with your partners. You set goals and stay on the same page without stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. That's Monarch Money. Chris Level, you and Texas Tech are in the Sweet 16. You're headed off to San Francisco. Does this Tech team have a chance to not only move to the Elite Eight, but go even further right now?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
That took a second there.
And you know what's interesting is that you have an $8 million coach in John Calipari. I think rumors are they've got about a $7 to $10 million payroll, and they're the big underdog, really, that's left in the whole deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Them and BYU.
Agreed.
I mean,
I would,
right?
BYU ain't no underdog. Yeah, right, nah.
They tried to paint themselves out to be an underdog to VCU. You're on here last week. Jake was on here.
I mean, BYU. Do you see the dollar figures that they're throwing around?
Oh,
yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
Ooh, boy. Yeah.
You think when the preseason poll next year comes out, BYU will be ranked in the top 5 preseason?
No.
Top 15, maybe.
15 easily.
Top 10, maybe. Top 10, I could see.
They're gonna have the number one pick they're gonna have the number one pick in the 2026 draft. They're gonna be inflated just for the TV dollars.
And they're gonna pull in the transfer portal.
It pains me to say this, but it's not going to shock me at all if Texas Tech and Houston are in San Antonio. And I only say that because it pains me all that Parker Ainsworth talks about his freaking Cougs carrying the water for Kevin Sampson and company.
Good pull.
Yeah, but I know Malik Wilson personally. Great kid. Talked to him the other day. I will root for him. It pains me that Parker will get some sort of glee and positivity out of the whole thing if that's what happens.
I had nothing to do with JT Topping and tossed that one time. I had nothing to do with that.
I know. What is it with crotch kicks and guys getting ejected from Big 12 teams? It's the only time I've ever seen this rule applied. But
we teach in this
we got hidden cameras in locker rooms paying attention to folks on some of these games, but not others.
I like how, by the way, I love how they hyped it up. Like, look at this wholesome moment. And it's the most BYU moment ever. He's just like, yeah.
He looks awkward.
Let's go.
Get a stop. Get a stop. Come on, we're almost there.
It's over, and it's like taking him a second. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, he got kicked out the ball. I don't think I still understand. And they brought in Gene because Gene is just a staple of March Madness to give you his thoughts on the whole pivot. He wasn't even looking at the guy. I don't think he intentional crotch shot at him. Yes, Cameron?
Yeah.
Genuine question here, because I haven't seen it in the women's game. Does that get officiated?
The crotch shot?
Does it?
Oh, wow. That's a fair. Yeah, it's just a men's rule. It's a good.
It's an unnatural act in both, but I think we have more of like the antennas up when it's a men's game.
Let's go to Steve Simcox, the Big 12 champion for the women's side on TCU. Oh wait.
Oh no. Well, send it to
I miss Simcox. I want Simcox here. That's really where it comes from. I want Simcox here.
Are we arguing that it shouldn't have been a foul call, or are we arguing she should have been ejected? Because I don't think he should have been ejected, but I thought it was a foul.
My Simcox impression.
Not do your Borba impression.
There you go.
Got to pull all my hair to one side. Just
bigger
every
eyebrows.
bit
You
of
got a
it.
mullet going,
Gotta
Drake.
have bigger eyebrows.
The late Borba.
Yeah, whatever happened to that guy? Houston, Parker Ainsworth in the Sweet 16 as well. They were, I said it a couple of weeks ago on the show or I guess a week ago when the bracket came out, a lock for the Final Four if anybody is in the Big 12. That's not something that is abnormal to say or weird to say. They won the conference, regular season and postseason. They're the best team in the Big 12. And I think my opinion hasn't changed whatsoever. They still seem to be the best suited school out of what's left of the Big 12 to make a Final Four run.
Yeah, and they've got, frankly, I would say on paper in a truly neutral site, the easiest path to. The challenge is that neutral site is Indianapolis, and you're playing Purdue, and then the winner of Tennessee and Kentucky. Those are all, I think, the furthest is a 3-hour drive, and Houston's about 1,000 miles, right? So, it's functionally going to be a road game. Houston was undefeated on the road this year. I will say that, it feels like the last several years something has happened where someone's ankle, knock on wood or something like that, weird happens because it's a bunch of one-game samples. But Houston played the toughest 8 seed I think I've ever seen against that. I mean, and I know I'm going to be biased here and all that, but they were 8th in KenPom and 8th in that region. That's just a little bit.
Mississippi State, really tough 8 seed. That's an impressive victory for them. So I'm going to have to disagree on this one.
It was, I think, good preparation.
Well done.
Drake, I like how that was your bold take.
Should already
still,
be a
like,
championship.
or such a tough, like it was. Yeah, I think they're the most likely to go there when they were literally a 1 seed.
Sorry, I know ball, JT. My bad. That the team that I thought was going to win is
Still 100%.
Yeah, man. I'm still undefeated. Got BYU.
Which one of your brackets is it? Like your 4th, your 5th, your 6th? Which one of your brackets?
Okay,
They all have BYU winning.
That's the real question.
I did 4 brackets. I did 4 brackets. The first bracket is the what I actually believe. It's the number one that is not very good right now. The second bracket is your Baylor wins the national championship. Everyone has an alma mater bracket, or they
That's
should.
not your one bracket?
No. And that one's not doing too hot.
Fake.
That one's not doing too hot. And then my third bracket, that one's the chaos bracket. The fourth is the one that you go through that like 5 minutes before and you just boop, 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 and that's it. So I have 4. I don't
That's the one you
think
pick BYU to win.
yes. I don't think it's that crazy to have 4 brackets.
What about the bracket where it's determined like which mascot can beat up the other one? Who would win that?
Pistol
St.
Pete.
John, the Johnnies are the Johnnies. What is a Johnny?
Not New Yorkers, man. They're the worst people you know. So
I don't
They
mean to
work
rub it
in
in the
Italian
can, but
restaurants.
isn't that where a devil would win most matchups?
Yeah.
but a bear could, if the bear is quick enough, could just
devil
ball the hell
lost
out of it.
Cole Powers doesn't suck
Here's
that
the
much.
trick. In the mascot game, I know that they're technically the Cougars, but BYU is like a very holy, like BYU and the devil, like that'd be your final matchup, right? I mean, that's pretty big
Cosmo,
time.
Caffeinated
whip
Cougar or a
everybody's ass.
non-caffeinated?
Joseph
No,
Smith.
this is the one that Cody
Versus
could finally
the
actually win something in.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, yeah.
They're the only one with a gun. The Red
It's a
Raiders. And the
cyclone.
Cowboys.
No, Chris has a gun.
Winning.
Cyclone up there.
Packing.
I got
Devil
Powers
lost
gone.
one-on-one
I
in
don't know
a
what
fiddle
you guys are
matchup. Are
thinking.
you?
In a fight, who
can't
wins?
even-
Does
What if
Pete
you
have
have
2 guns?
enough volunteers?
Does Pete have
You know, with enough volunteers, you
It's
could.
plural.
An undetermined amount of volunteers is pretty good.
Yeah.
Pete have 2 pistols.
Oh,
1 pistol, 2 for Pete.
2 all day.
On the
Now,
mascot,
I mean, he's also got a shotgun, so
We have a
Got a saw
cannon.
draft.
We have a cannon and a musket.
Valid. He does have
And
those
he-
guns.
and he-
Indeterminate
he's
amount of
talking.
mountaineers,
The
by the
finger
way,
of God.
and potentially endless amount of mountaineers as well.
You guys are
Yeah.
fighting for second place, so
The Sun
And they're going to be
Devil.
sober because you know there's no weed.
Blue Devil's more like tap.
Or
Sun
TikTok
Devils
dances,
is too
for that matter.
mainstream.
Again, this is a
Is that the
tornado.
Bears
I don't
fan
know
talking?
who can put up a tornado.
That's fair.
That's true.
Well,
You just go
It's
under.
true.
Sun Devil
It's
versus
the winner.
Devil
The
is a
tornado's
real.
the winner.
but like,
What did Chris
couldn't
say?
this
Just go
devil
underground?
control the
Just
tornado?
go underground. I mean, like
know
they
if
build
you win that,
shelters to
Tiger
protect
in this
yourself from.
conference.
Well, for
Depends
forcing
if they're
yourself to
facing someone
fight,
from
you can't
Oklahoma.
really-
No basements in Oklahoma.
No,
don't need them. Don't need them.
Nick's
Fight
here.
who wins.
All right.
Pick a field goal.
I don't. Why are our name tags blue? I still don't understand what went wrong to make the name tags blue.
I thought you were
Rubbing it
the BYU
because of
representative and
you.
you did
This is
that.
Jake's way to get back.
That's BYU.
Still make
Did you know
Subliminal.
Cameron Stewart's the biggest Duke fan that I know? Did we mention this? Anyone mention
Did
this?
he make the intro?
former,
Genuinely.
Why do you keep going to
Make
bat
the-
for him? as a Duke
Genuinely.
fan?
retired.
He would wear Duke stuff when we were hosting
So
shows
you were
together.
so you were pleased with the weekend result.
This is slander. Granted, I know more about Duke basketball than pretty much anyone that was in that arena outside of John Shire, but this is slander.
What?
I won't.
Are you saying this
Four
is
of
not
your
a puff
bracket
piece?
Duke winners? Is that
Not a puff
You
piece.
won't-
Although
you
I
won't
did
tag
pick Duke
Jay
to win the
Billis
national
about it.
championship. And
There it
Is it on? Can I Google that you're a Duke fan? Was that on Google?
Jay Billis versus.
I don't know.
Mike
It probably is in some sort of registry, but I don't know about
Wiki
Google.
now.
What'd you say
You and
about
We
the
brought
registry?
registries back up in this segment.
Dawson, what did you say about a
To
registry?
be fair, I was a fan of Duke before it was cool. Now everyone's a Duke fan.
When was it cool?
When was it cool?
It
Thank
is
you, Parker.
cool now.
Johnny Dawkins back in the days of Johnny Dawkins.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Where's Mike
He's
Gittins?
Mark Gallery guy.
Where's the Mike Gittins?
Bobby
Danny
Hurley?
Ferry.
All-time
Danny
assist
Ferry.
leader?
Also,
All-time
Hurley's
assist
a
leader.
Duke
Not
guy.
apparently not a top 10 Duke player, according to some Bleacher Report bracket from a few weeks ago.
He's not a top 1,000
You're reading
coach,
Bleacher
so-
Report brackets on Duke?
That's
Come on, Cam. You're
They
not really
did
beating the
they did a
case
top
here.
10 Duke players, and I had a lot of beef with it. I can send it to Drake.
You're not
Up
beating the
there. I had a
allegations here,
lot of
Cameron.
beef.
You're not. Allegations are strong.
Watch the post game. I was taking it hard.
Richie, how have Arizona State fans reacted to the firing of Bobby Hurley?
Oh, that's a trick question.
Oh,
see what you did
It was a hell of a dream.
Local expert gets the trick question correct. Nicely done, Richard.
We're not having a good time, but you know what?
Not
I'm
having a
pretty
good
sure
time,
everyone
not
is
having
still
a
on
good
spring
time.
break in their heads. So I don't know how many people even know what's going on in Tempe.
When are
right
you
now.
not on spring break?
Let's say,
just
isn't that just
That's
like the
what I'm
entire
saying.
year?
Yeah.
We're
universal.
accentuating the problem. There might be people still down at Rocky Point.
You know, I went to Waste Management this year, and they were telling war stories of last year, where there was like a rain delay in the middle of the tournament on Sunday, and Arizona State had bussed in students for their fraternity formals. They like all had them the same day there, and they ran the place out of booze and had they had like riot police on hand for these Arizona State frat kids.
So you know that meme, that gif of like the security guard who like is walking up and he's like barely touching anyone to like pat him down as they're going into the stadium. That was the Waste Management security. Like they're just kind of sitting there like, hey, please don't go in. And like hundreds of thousands of people are going in. And it's like, well, this is going to go well.
And it's like the toughest event in America to get to. So they're like, once you've gotten here, it's like, you've earned it. You can do whatever you want.
Dude, you didn't even need a ticket.
Find
you
the
just
scantily
walked
clad
in.
woman and buy yourself a beer.
I have the band on still.
Still have it.
Off yet. Yeah.
How many bands? How many bands are there?
Probably 20 or so, I would say. This one's
Does it smell?
What's your favorite?
No. Why would they
Which is your-
smell? They're like plastic.
His
I think
BYU one's his favorite. His BYU one.
Okay, sorry that they have the best cumulative win percentage between football and basketball of any Big 12 school this season.
Whoa!
We're talking about schools that are good. Sorry, JT, we're not mentioning Utah every show.
And then Drake's like, "How do the names get blue?"
Yeah.
It's Tim Robinson meme. We're all trying to find out who did this.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, the Big 12 squad's going to be entirely blue background, all of it, everything top to bottom.
This one says WNMWAP WAP, which stands for White Nissan Maxima with Arkansas plates, which is my car. So I was thinking that. How did you even pull this off?
Like, I mean, come on.
Oh,
This
no,
is
really
gold
is the top
right
10.
here.
They gave you
sorry, he's
access
number
last
10.
week, didn't
Yeah.
they? They gave you producer access to this show. That's
5
not
national
good.
players of the year that are not on this list. And Jason Tatum, who's out in the second round, is on the list. Come on.
Zion
Miss you
Williamson
with
is
that.
one.
Tatum might be
This is
number
ridiculous.
Leitner
never
should be
gonna-
number
we're
one.
never
by
gonna
the
be
way.
able to
Yeah,
much intro
Mr.
now.
Leitner love. That's ridiculous.
Nick was born in 2009. Big Zion guy. He loves Zion.
Richie Bobby
Big
Hurley's
Zion
way too
guy.
low on that list.
The all-time assist leader
I
in the
know.
NCAA.
That's ridiculous.
He's way too low.
Luol Deng should not be on this list.
Lou
I
Alabama
Never
is
even heard of Grant
crazy.
Hill.
Great year. Maravets, that's ridiculous.
Let's
Shut
get
up.
Locked On Blue
Shut
Devils
up.
on here. Why not? They're
Did he
part
say
of the
heard of
opening.
Grant Hill?
Zion Williamson shouldn't be on that list.
Zion is one, Chris.
At his
Kidding me?
peak? Not even on there, Chris, at his peak?
No.
JJ
No.
Redick. I thought he was the Lakers coach.
Yeah.
AJ Redick, the Lakers coach.
So many
He
questions.
played 5 years. How
The
did he go with 5
podcaster?
years?
The podcaster.
Drake, you need to
All-time
go
leading
back to
scorer,
school,
by
man.
the way.
4, 5, 6. No, that's 5 years. 2.
Well, he would have
3,
played his
4,
first
5,
game in
6.
November 02.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, but that's
Show
kind of
you how good that-
It is not really how you do it, but Leitner and Grant Hill.
Yeah,
also.
because Zion only played 1 year. Okay, so that makes more sense. That's
Jason
kind of
Williams,
stupid to get
National
it that
Player
way.
of the Year.
That
Johnny Dawkins
2001
leaving the
Duke
all-time
team.
leading scorer.
so good.
01 Duke. Was born that year.
Boozer, Battier, Reddick. They
Redick
were
was
really
not on the
good.
team.
We spent like
That's
3
Conley
minutes on
was on
Duke.
that team.
Oh,
Why
somebody's
are we talking
triggered.
about Duke so much?
Somebody's triggered.
Where's the stadium?
Oh, and you're also like, we're going to move Leitner to the front. Like, that's like the worst. Anyway.
Leitner is one of the top 10 college basketball players of all time. And if we're going off the Parker Ainsworth
Oh.
model of who's the greatest, Leitner should be so far in first place for making 4
Show.
Final Fours. Parker's trying to tell me LJ Cryer is the best player in Big 12 history. 'cause he wins
Oh.
If he cuts down a net in April, he cuts down a net in April. We're
Kyle
going to say
Siegler up there while we're here.
he cuts down a net in April.
Count
He's got 2
players that
titles.
weren't in the Big
He's
12,
not better
though.
than Bobby Huggins.
LJ Cryer's only been in the Big 12. He'd have won it 4 times. If he cuts down a
Which
net in
is a
April, he's
great
cut down 2
accomplishment,
championships.
Time out, Parker. Can you count a Houston player that didn't play in the Big 12?
Can you count?
Yeah.
He was at Baylor first, so like, he was in the Big 12. He's won a title with them. He wins a title
It
this year.
sounds
2
like that's
titles.
one of the greatest Baylor players ever.
Ah.
I said Big 12. I said
No.
Big 12 player.
He did
no.
say Big 12. But
Houston's greatest ever player would not
Manipulation.
register in a top 30 list for Baylor, apparently.
I Hakeem Olajuwon won't be the best Houston player. He didn't play in the Big 12. It's Southwest Conference.
That's
Chris
Big
can back me on the
12
Southwest Conference, right, Chris? Southwest Conference days? Yeah,
Hey,
Chris.
shout out to Ralph Sampson. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. No, sorry.
So
Southwest
there was this old man who played basketball for Baylor like in the 50s or 60s. And some of those guys you meet, they're on a club or something, they're part of the alumni association. They come to the games and wave when the old guys come on the field. He was not. He was suspenders, lived in a trailer, real rough and tumble guy, probably mid 70s. And he called he put on Facebook Marketplace for some reason when Baylor renovated the Farrell Center, they took out all of the banners and threw them away. They just put them in a dumpster. And so this old guy drives by and sees them and just puts them all in the back of his truck, puts them on Facebook Marketplace. Next thing you know, Baylor basketball, Southwest Conference champions from 1948 behind me.
Where apparently they did not win a tournament game.
That's type shit.
That is awful.
We're going to leave that in there.
Accurate, Ricky.
I'm not going to tell. Coming up, I'm going to have a conniption and other great Mountaineer Paul albums. Today's show is brought to you by Nissan. I drive a Nissan personally, Nissan Maxima with Arkansas plates, to be exact, 2016 model, and I love it. So I love touting Nissan every week. We're all about stats because numbers don't lie. And the Armada Pro 4X, the numbers are on an MVP level. 8,500 pounds is what you can tow wherever you need to go. Twin turbo V6 engine can fit up to 8 people. The Armada Pro 4X is built for big crews, big adventures, bigger memories. When you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the arena, the Armada Pro 4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you go. Take your adventures to new heights in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. That's nissanusa.com.
The NCAA Tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA Tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
All right, Big 12's got 4 teams in the Sweet 16. SEC has 7. Level, I know you're pretty passionate about this topic. I think if the Big 12 had 13 teams, 14 teams allowed to play in March Madness at some level, Cam, is that your girlfriend punching buttons on the microwave?
He's on mute too. We can still hear it.
It's the preheat, man. I can't control that.
What's for dinner tonight, Cam?
Control the preheat.
Another hot dog.
Baked mac and cheese. Don't be ridiculous.
I feel like if the Big 12 had 14 teams in, we would have the odds obviously skyrocket. We would have 5, 6, 7 teams in the Sweet 16 because now you have a much better chance to do so. To me, no one here is arguing that Auburn's bad.
Would be there.
No one here is arguing that Tennessee is bad or Alabama's bad. But did we need Texas here? Did we need Oklahoma here? The oversaturation of the SEC this year in March Madness just made the tournament kind of suck.
But it was different this year than in years past. Like we had this discussion last week.
ACC rep.
AT's daddy talk. Here we go.
We had this discussion. I knew that would come. That's because I try to bring a level head, as Chris Level often does, to these conversations. What was the difference between the SEC in basketball versus football? In football, there was a media push to get these SEC teams in based on hypotheticals. In basketball, they went out there and got really good wins. So I didn't have a
against
problem.
each other. What do you mean, really good wins?
The conference was 500 against each other.
500. 500 on the year.
See, like this is different. In years past, like the Big 12 has obviously been in the past anointed as the best basketball conference, but this year that was universally believed to be the SEC.
I don't know. I mean, there's zero. Nope,
You're not wrong, but Drake's
I think
saying
he is
by
wrong.
Volume they should have.
But I think he is wrong. Did you know not a single SEC team
Yeah,
has a top 100 strength of schedule? Did you know that? In non-conference, not a single SEC team had a top 100 strength of schedule.
But they got massive head-to-head wins.
Had a
Can't
top
be over.
I feel like you make up for that with all the
Head-to-head wins
ranked
has to
wins in
matter.
your conference.
Head-to-head wins has to matter. And they beat
Well, yeah,
head-to-head.
but then how do we quantify head-to-head wins when there are 12
When
of
they're
them,
in the same
13 of them? We bring in strength of schedule to show you, because they're all like transitive property doesn't work. Just because Georgia beat UConn and then UConn beat Mississippi State doesn't necessarily mean that Georgia's better than Mississippi State, right? So we give you a strength of schedule metric that's going to tell you what your strength of schedule was based on who you played. The SEC was not in the top 100. Sure, a team like Vanderbilt went to Atlantis and beat Villanova. That seemed cool then. Then Villanova sucked. So just because their non-conference was great, and they go into conference play, and for every Tennessee win against Alabama and Alabama win against Tennessee, they cut each other out, cancel each other out, then the SEC just gets to stay at number 1.
Well, and moreover, the Big Dog's like they have 7 teams in the Sweet 16. They also sent 7 home. They sent like 7 went home before the first Monday. We're not saying Alabama and Auburn aren't good. It's that we knew that the bottom 3 and 4 teams didn't deserve to be there. They went there because the jersey patch next to the Nike logo. That's the only reason they were there.
And the Big 12 should have had 5 teams. And Nick, we need to talk about what's going on there in Ames, man. Like I know there's a lot of Tech fans that were really disappointed in TJ and his team's effort there.
Destroyed my bracket.
There were a lot of
Thanks a lot,
Cyclone
Nick.
fans that were also disappointed. That is not a one-sided affair. I don't really want to get into it because I'm one of them.
Ole Miss just did whatever they wanted.
Speaking of
60%
from 3.
Speaking of disappointment, Derek Johnson, everyone.
Hey, what are you talking about? We're just getting an early run on the transfer portal. What the issue is.
He might not be wrong there is the scary thing.
The Kansas Jayhawks.
End of an era.
guys.
We're losing
All right.
Hunter Dickinson and Cam Rising in the same year.
We'll hot seat right now.
AARP is getting some love.
You see, Dickinson's entered the transfer portal, and he's got offers from LinkedIn. He's got like $750
Safeway. Yeah, that's
Sonic
right.
Drive.
Did you guys notice? So there was that commercial going on with Dickinson. He was on multiple. It was like
Did you say commercial? Was it this one?
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up.
It's the
He should have been in that one. But I don't know if you guys noticed. It was like happening like during the game. As soon as the game ended, I have never seen him on it again.
You talking about the haircut commercial?
Yeah.
So like what I'm asking, did Great Clips, give the cut to Hunter Dickinson?
Is it cake?
It's a cake.
Or are you talking about the Skims commercial? You also did that one too.
I benched Richie Bradshaw for just a second because they didn't fire Bobby Hurley, and it just frustrates me. I could put him on the hot seat. Instead, hot seat. We'll start with Nick here. Yet Nick Otzelberger struggled to win in March, and Scott Drew's gone through this last few years, where the greatest regular season coach of all time and just can't get past the first weekend. What do we do? Do we hypnotize Otzelberger to get rid of his fear of the Sweet 16?
I've actually been thinking about this a little bit just because there's been so much conversation about is this a disappointing season for Iowa State? And I think that's a totally different conversation. But one thing that it seems like Otzelberger does is run these teams into the ground right before the tournament. And so maybe expanding to more than an eight player rotation, maybe utilizing Demarion Watson or Cade Kelderman earlier in the season would have given this team a bit of a chance. But it felt like they just had absolutely nothing. Obviously, you mentioned Chris Level, the struggles shooting against Ole Miss, and Ole Miss just literally could not miss, and I can't do anything about that. But Milan seemed like he had no legs. Like he was shooting entirely with his upper body, and I don't know how much of that plays into the fact. Obviously, he missed those 7 games in the middle of the season, but just a wear and tear going on to this team. So that's where my mind goes immediately is it paying off to really run this super aggressive scheme all year long, especially with 2 extra conference games? Or is there something to be said of incorporating more guys into it, into the rotation, and or maybe not going just to the wall all day, every day? That's where my mind went immediately.
And Nick, what I would say is ask Parker Ainsworth how his head coach runs his team all year long. And I only use 8 guys, and nobody grinds their guys down more than Kevin Sampson.
Yes.
He's going to come for you, Chris, if you keep doing that. He gets pissed about that.
I know, and I'm kidding, right?
Yeah. And you better pronounce Gonzaga right.
It's an interesting point because if you look back at past national champions, here's the most recent bench minute rankings for the past 7 champions: 242, 229, 301, 234, 317, 302. Championship teams don't play deep benches. So
Derek had that so ready from last year, by the way. Derek has been putting that out for like 14 months now.
Tattooed. Yeah, tattooed in a place that I won't show on the show.
Really good points. But have we ever considered the
Drake
fact that when you go into a new season, spring, it's warming up a little bit. Maybe those medium-sized shirts are just getting a little too tight.
Those mediums, baby. I mean, TJ, his biceps, he is hitting the push downs. And you make a great point. I don't know if maybe moving to a BYU type rotation is the move for Iowa State, but it's immediately where my mind went to, because obviously with injuries, this team struggled to get 8 guys on the floor. And so when you see extended minutes from DeMar Watson and obviously later in the tournament, Cade Kelderman, it's like, why are they not playing earlier? If you're struggling with potential legs and conditioning issues, it feels like towards the end of the season, why are we not exploring that earlier?
But Nick, I would say, like, because Houston's had the injury thing happen a couple years in a row now, and I would point out, like, how many, I don't know where you put Keyshawn Gilbert on your like ranking of Iowa State Cyclones. I'd imagine it's pretty high. How many teams could like lose that guy and win the whole thing?
No, yeah. No, that's
like, that doesn't happen very often for anyone.
It doesn't, but also it's tough. I mean, yeah, he's a big hole to fill, but I did graph out his actual contribution towards games, and it was lower in the second half of the year. And they still got wins there. So I don't have a good answer for you. Unfortunately, I'm sitting here in front of microphone, not coaching this team, but that was where my mind went to immediately.
But you're right. Momcilovic is banged up, and then Lipsey's banged
Lipsey more banged up.
Lipsey's got like 7 different things wrong with him, and then Keyshawn Gilbert, who already didn't play a ton the last month. They were ready to go without him, but with not having him on the floor, it gives you one less option. Whereas Kevin Young can look 8 guys down the bench and be like, "Oh, look, here's another one. Let's just throw that kid into the game and see what he's able to do for us." In competition.
Is that nice?
But see, at the other end of things, like, you guys have made 2 Sweet 16s in the previous 3 years. So
right, but this was a Final Four team when it was fully healthy. This was an Elite 8 minimum.
Yeah, I agree.
But now it's over, right? We didn't even make it to the second weekend.
I do
further
think
than Kansas. Yes, further than Kansas. Let's note that.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you guys have made 2 Sweet 16s. Kansas made 1 Sweet 16 in 2019. Now, they probably would have in 2020, and like they won the title the year they won it, so you get bonus points for that. But like, I guess what I'm saying is, should we be vilifying TJ Otzelberger?
No.
I'm with Derek on this.
Yeah,
I feel like Houston was the best team in America before Jamal Shead went down last year, but they also had 3 other guys in rotation hurt at that point. Like, injuries are just part of the bad luck of it. You're going to play a bunch of 1-game samples condensed to 3 weeks at the end of a long season. Like that's just part of this thing we do. What was that?
Would Ole Miss even have been there if West Virginia would have made the tournament? They probably would have beat Ole Miss.
Question.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Tucker DeVries, he was injured, so he didn't deserve to get in.
Was he injured?
Was he injured?
Listen, I told everybody on the show, like, obviously I got really close with his family over the course of time while he was there.
Burn the bridges.
What's going on there, right? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Well, I mean, they wouldn't even talk to him anymore, so it doesn't matter, right? But it was tendonitis. I said it multiple times. That was the diagnosis.
Dr. Mountaineer.
Now I'm playing it. Well, that's according to his uncles.
How many Mountain Dews per day
like
should we have to stay healthy, Dr. Paul?
It's actually funny. You were talking about that crazy scenario in Arizona, and I was thinking about the time I got stuck in Myrtle Beach during Black Bike Week.
There we go.
That was incredible.
I was
very out of place. I was very out of place there. I really was. I got
exciting whites. This is the story. Good segue. Good segue. Go ahead.
Surgery for their tendonitis.
I didn't even know it was a thing. And
you didn't know about tendonitis?
No, I didn't know about Black Bike Week.
Hey, learn us. What fill us in.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like the Black National Championship Games, similar to that, right? It's where gentlemen of culture get together and ride Harleys and motorcycles together. It just happens to be a very dangerous time as well, similar to like if the Hells Angels were doing it, except the reverse, I guess. And so I was in the middle of that after I had stolen a car.
Reverse Angels?
Oh, you buried the lead. You stole a car?
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, you're behind on this
we
one.
were here for this few weeks.
Chris.
Clarify. I think what Mountaineer Paul is saying is it was dangerous
because 2004 It was a burnt orange
Paul,
2004
let me cover your
Pontiac
bases
vibe.
before we go further, Paul.
Pontiac
What Paul is
vibe.
saying
Okay.
it was
Somebody
a
put up a
dangerous
picture of
time. A dangerous time in Myrtle Beach because it was a biker rally. Nothing else. Just as the biker rally.
Yes.
Paul, now what car did you steal?
A burnt orange 2004 Pontiac vibe that I stole some license plates from a black one and tried to put it on the car. And it did not work. And obviously when the cops saw that, when I was in Myrtle Beach parking lot, I was arrested.
That's how it goes.
Walmart parking lot. in Myrtle
Hashtag
Beach.
America, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to put the other guy on the hot seat, Derek Johnson.
I can't follow that.
The Kansas Jayhawks had yet another disappointing March. Bill Self last offseason was taking calls from Oklahoma State, just being a good buddy, being a good pal, letting them know what they should do, and opening a membership at local country clubs as well. Just as a thing, just doing that.
Hey, if somebody wants to fly me out somewhere and pay for my golf, I'm in.
And you become a member forever, and it's not nefarious at all. Are you? But you didn't fly out there. He didn't go to Stillwater. He just opened a membership at the golf club. Derek, what's happening with Bill Self in Kansas right now?
There were some rumors, I guess you could call it, about that Texas was going to be the new school that they would try to lure him away. I don't really believe that one at all. I think right now we could be on the last legs of Bill Self. This next year, Darren Peterson's coming in. He's the number one player on Draft Express's way too early, draft for that year, number 2 prospect. And there are some, I don't know, a little bit of scuttlebutt that could it be his final year? That he wanted to stay around for one more year to coach this kid because he's going to be a very special talent. Now, who knows? Maybe he coaches him. They have a good year, reinvigorates you, boom, you're around for 5 more years. I don't know. But I don't think it would be unreasonable that we're talking Kansas coaching search in a year or 2.
Wow. That'd be crazy.
But
who do you
for
want
him
there?
retiring, just to be clear? Yeah.
Well, and they'd have, I'd assume, the pick of the litter as far as a lot of guys across the country. I mean,
You would think so? I think that
Got Drew, obviously.
I
Yeah,
think
but
that
do you want to
Kentucky-
follow? Do you want to follow Self?
Well,
I mean, people ask that about Roy Williams. I did Self want to follow Roy Williams there, like that.
Yeah.
Is that a philosophical question?
There's actually a really good story with that. It was Bill Self didn't even know if he wanted to follow Roy Williams. And he called his dad and was like, am I sure I want to take this? And his dad kind of scolded him and was like, you know what? If you have that mentality, you're too soft for this. And it ended up making him take the job. So he left Illinois for it. But yeah, I mean, you would think you'd have your pick of the litter. I don't know, the names that people like to toss around, Nate Oates and Tommy Lloyd and Todd Golden and stuff. At the same point in time, we just saw how the Kentucky one went. And it felt like they got denied by a couple people. So you never really know.
But
Todd Golden, be careful.
anytime you got a job,
Danny Manning.
anytime
Future Sun Devil head coach.
Chris
Todd Golden.
Beard.
I'll say this, Chris, your former guy, I don't know, another Chris Beard.
Yeah.
Is a name that I know Bill Self wouldn't mind seeing as his successor.
Yeah, his Beard's agent is the guy named Brett Just, and I think there was a lot of interest in Indiana from their camp, and I think he's been keen to. He didn't stay anywhere for very very long, so I think if Indiana would have been
that job,
if Indiana would have been interested, I think he would have. Hey, sorry, Paul.
no, I mean, if Chris Beard would have went to Indiana, we wouldn't be.
Indiana didn't want the baggage. That's what the word was. They didn't want anybody with any. But the guy can coach, man. Bottom line, he can coach.
Bobby Knight, noted not baggage haver.
I think Derek's guys, if you have a chance to coach Kansas, with the way coaches and their egos are, if they have a chance to be put in a position where they can win a national championship, they're going to take it. So I think Kansas will absolutely have their pick of all the possible coaches that don't feel I'm not in the A spot where I can win a championship. I'll go to Kansas. I have a hard time believing that people would pass that up.
And by then, Kansas will be in the SEC. They're already in talks or something. They're going to join their basketball-centric conference. FCC loves basketball now, so there's a chance. Paul, as the show winds down, what you got for us, man?
Open the floor.
Cam, did you have the picture in here?
What else did you steal, Paul?
All.
Well, I want
to.
Oh,
yes.
That's it.
Yes. Is that Paul in there with a hat on?
That's it, man.
I do want to say, though, on a real quick, serious note, obviously that's not something I'm proud of, and it's something that I've grown from. Those were during years in which I was addicted to substances, and I am no longer that. But looking back on those stories and having a laugh, those people have been paid back for their lost belongings for the most part. But yeah, they when they found us, I don't even know how, I probably shouldn't go that deep into it. So yeah.
Too late. Too late.
We got 18 minutes.
Hey, for the most
Got
part.
18 minutes. Well, I mean, they found us in the Walmart parking lot. The girl I was with at the time put T-shirts over the windows because the lights were getting in.
As
World's dumbest criminals.
No, that
right?
makes sense.
Yeah.
No, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
like,
no,
We're only in a
give her credit.
stolen vehicle. Let's make it more innocuous. Lack of innocuous.
It's innocuous. Oh,
insane.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
in now.
yeah.
Wow,
So,
he just pulled out innocuous on us. That's
Yeah,
like
so-
an all-time
Work that
Big
off the
12
bingo
squad
card,
word.
yeah.
I hear an air horn, obviously. Driver, please step out of the vehicle. So I knew it was over with. But then I didn't know what to do with the crack pipe. No, see, that's what I'm saying. You guys aren't going to get these jokes. See, for
God,
somebody
I
that's
love
in
it here.
recovery,
Oh
if you
my
ever go to an NA or an AA meeting, you hear stuff like this all the
shoot.
time because
Yep.
this is how people in recovery
That
feel,
gets
right?
the town of Huntsville, West Virginia rolling.
So obviously, this needs to be cut out of the show, I'm sure.
I don't think it will be. I just don't think it will be.
Just don't fire me. That's all I
Hey,
ask.
That's pretty amazing. That's
Yeah. So, but other than that, I came up with some really funny villain names for JT and for Parker. If you guys want to hear those on a more lighthearted note.
Parker back on the screen.
Prepared. All right. And
We've got-
let's see. Roll the dice, roll the dice, roll the dice. Derek came late.
So
Villain
we've-
names.
Parker Whizbang is one that I had for him. Or how about Parker Puddles? Is that a good villain name for Parker? No. What about Parker the Perplexer? That's the one I had written down.
Oh, I like
Hold
that
on.
one.
He's
Parker.
not direct enough for my podcast.
Paul, did you put these into Grok?
No, I did not. Parker the Prankster Apparel. Then JT Wistersill, the
time out,
Wicked
time out.
Whisperer,
Wait,
is one.
Okay,
that I
I'm gonna get my crap. Like I know that. What did Parker do that irks me Mountaineer Paul?
I don't know. I just feel like you guys are generally the villains. You guys are usually like contrarians
heels.
on the show. If there is an opinion being had, you guys will be.
Is there a back?
New guy Nick and his Iowa State Cyclones made it.
But almost better.
12 squad, got a quick football focus question for y'all. Since last week, I know I took the conversation a little bit too much off the rails. I want
He's
Hey,
smiling.
Drake, I missed your video last week. When are we going to get a video from you? by the way?
Never. I'm not weird.
Weird.
Anytime I ask you guys for a video, don't send them. All right. So Mountaineer Paul has chosen these two to be the heel this week. Please continue.
JT Wistersill, the Wicked Whisperer. Okay. Or how about
Rolls right off the
JT,
tongue.
the Machiavellian Wistersill? No.
JT, the
You
ACC
threw the
rep.
Machiavellian in like a middle name. That
Yeah,
Macadamian?
it's pretty terrible. Like I was caught completely off guard. I went from
Caught you
one
off
extreme
guard,
to the
Paul.
other. I know it's terrible.
Mountaineer Paul, after watching what played out with North Carolina, I do want to know how deep do you think West Virginia would have gone?
It's a good question. I think we'd have had a shot at the 16. I do. I think we'd had a shot at the Sweet 16. Matchups are everything. Guards win.
Would you have
tournaments,
had
right?
that shot with Darian DeVries still knowing he was going to leave? Like he would have been in
That's a
March
good
Madness
question.
knowing he wants to go.
Based off the Colorado result, I would say I don't think so because his definitely had one foot out the door. The team wasn't playing well. We were 13-10 in our last 23 games. So it's not like we were playing terrific. We had won 3 out of 4 going into that game.
Paul, here's what was weird is that
JT paid him to say that.
I'm in the downtown Marriott in Kansas City. They have just lost to Colorado. I'm in the lobby. They get back. Texas Tech wasn't playing until the next night. I'm sitting in the lobby. All of West Virginia is there. All got all their baggage and suitcases. They're saying goodbye to their family, and they're about to fly back to Morgantown. And I get up the next morning, and I'm down there, and Darren DeVries is down there with family, and his team is. I believe they were long gone and back, and he was still in Kansas City, which I thought was strange.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was strange.
Interesting. And when was this after? You said after what? Colorado.
This was after they lost to Colorado.
Photo evidence.
Notes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I mean, obviously he came out and said some comments, and then those of us on the West Virginia side have done some other digging about some other stuff that isn't quite public, but definitely the tendonitis was the thing. I mean, I didn't release that while the season was happening or anything like that, but on the DeVries front, it's pretty obvious that there was a deal in place. The Iowa thing was a smokescreen. I'm 100% sure of that. He was never going to Iowa. That was definitely put out as a smokescreen. I don't know if you want to call it leverage or just to put people off of the trail that he was at Indiana for weeks, at least, probably closer to
I think Iowa hired a better coach than Indiana just did.
Ooh.
Some people, I don't think that's a hot take. I think it's
a more loyal coach, not a coward.
He didn't even say goodbye to the players. That was the thing that bothered me the most, Chris. And I know you had a lot of,
I don't disagree with that. That's not the right way to do things. I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
And
our coach is so bad at leaving places. It feels like this Brian Kelly was awful at. There are so many
college
coaches
basketball
that
Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
And Kyle Whittingham is next. Kyle Whittingham.
Me and my family. I'm so happy to be in Baton Rouge. Me and my family.
Worcester, Massachusetts.
Yeah, the accent all going. Oh.
I love this game of Drake popping in for bits and popping back out.
He just takes
only one to say.
Just to crap on.
Paul finished. Paul was making a statement.
Let Paul cook.
I'm not gonna let us get out of here without acknowledging the fact that if you watched wrestling over the weekend, what Wyatt Hendrickson did,
unbelievable. If you watch wrestling, you guys watch wrestling.
Mic drop.
Actually, Cody, that was really mean because it was a very cool moment. Cody, now that I made fun of you, you get to explain this because it was actually.
I would absolutely love to explain it, Drake.
Oh no!
I can't believe he did that. I can't believe he did that.
Didn't pay for StreamYard. They didn't pay for StreamYard. Is what happened.
Dang it! God bless.
It was.
Did you guys see it? He beat the Olympian. He beat the guy who won the Olympics.
No.
We need more wrestling rep for sure.
Yeah.
That
good. Okay, he's back. Cody, I'm sorry. I apologize.
I don't believe him at all. I don't believe him. There it is.
He's playing with my emotions.
Yeah. Cam, you're having too much fun, dude.
This has been too much fun, man.
Cody, tell them about the Olympic thing.
He beat one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. A lot of people are saying it's the biggest upset in wrestling history. That's basically it. He's a two-time national champion. He's won a gold medal. He's supposed to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and Wyatt Hendrickson found a way to get it done. So
former NFL player, former WWE player, Gable Stevenson.
WWE player.
I feel like
Cody, what do you think of that 3-point takedown?
To make sure he got everything out before Drake took him out again.
Yeah, have you guys seen this?
I know he was talking fast.
I was
going.
Stevenson.
Honestly, like that's one of the top Oklahoma State moments of all time.
All because of the 3-point takedown too.
What's that?
That 3-point takedown is so new. What do you make of that? I feel like that's just
it takes a while to get used to, right? Because the scoring has changed. But at the same point in time, that's the beauty of a match like that, is you don't have to know anything about wrestling to know that something insane was happening.
It was like the last 30 seconds or something, wasn't it?
Yep, last 32 seconds.
That's the beauty of the 3-point takedown, is a situation in that is exact scenario, and obviously we're not a wrestling podcast, but it kind of evades that takedown escape situation where you can just go and all of a sudden now you are the champion, as opposed to taking down and then do you go to what happens after that. And so that was a really cool moment. I agree.
Dude, Gable Stevenson hadn't even been taken down in all year, like not even close. Nobody's even got.
And he dominated.
Who's the John Cena of our little podcast here?
Paul.
Definitely JT.
Paul.
Is he heel? Probably heel is JT, bro.
Hey, really quick,
based on my commentary, I don't know what kind of podcast this is actually.
Does anybody
Certainly,
well,
JT.
she put
Really
T-shirts
quick.
up in the
Really
windows to try to hide our stolen car.
I promise super fast. Parker, I thought what you said earlier was interesting
so
that
mad.
you think you have the easiest path remaining left.
I think that in a truly neutral floor, those three teams are actually. It's the issue
I like
is
the way
not
Purdue's
actually
playing right now. I thought they looked really good. It's against McNeese, sure, but like I thought they looked really good. And you still have to go through Tennessee versus St. John's getting knocked out. I think Florida has an easier path right now.
But you're not going to get away without beating a good. Like you're going to have to beat good teams. Like there's not like a path without good.
Wait,
teams.
what did I?
You know what? It doesn't even matter because you guys aren't in the Crown tournament. So
yeah, exactly.
Get on my
list.
But you found a way to give SEC love on the
Chris
show.
doesn't like Florida. Chris, not a big Florida guy here.
Chris, are you?
Well, I mean, they're in our little deal. I mean, in San Francisco. Like, I'm not going to sit there and he's like been caught looking at the girlies on Instagram and following and unfollowing. There's a lot going on there with Coach Golden.
Shoot or shoot.
There we go. Here, this has been, and it always will be.
No Jake after 50 minutes. Woo!
Come back next week, hopefully so. Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. The Goat Say Grande Squad.